Doctor Who, The King's Demons, the 12th story of the 5th Doctor, is written by Terence Dudley and starring Peter Davison, Janet Fielding, Mark Strickson and Gerald Flood. Originally the story was called The Androids, then renamed to The Demons, A Knight's Tale and Demon's Keeper, but eventually The King's Demons. Part 1 is marked as 100th episode of Doctor Who. The story introduces Gerald Flood as the Chameleon. This is also the last story that TARDIS interior had been used since The Invisible Enemy. However, it was reused for 2nd Doctor Patrick Troughton scene in The Two Doctors. So in England, at 12:15, King John of England is at the castle of Sir Ranulph Fitzwilliam asking for more pay, the taxes, but Lord refuses, which made King John insulted, and his champion issues a challenge to defend his honour. His son Hugh takes on the King's champion, so the Doctor, Tegan and Tolo arrived as the Doctor sensed that something's wrong. People believe the TARDIS team are demons. They get taken to the court of the King. The Doctor is thinking that the King isn't himself. Plus, according to history books, he was supposed to be in London taking the Crusaders' oath. As Geoffrey D. Lacey arrives, he confirms that the King was in London, so it could be that he's in two places at once, or the other one's imposter. So at the Royal Bouquet, King John plays his guitar and sings the King's song. Pretty catchy. The Doctor notices his bad performance and said real King John would have done it better. So we get a brilliant sword fight. Plus there was no stunt performers. Peter Davison and Anthony Ainley did it all, which is cool. And I can see that when they filmed The Christmas Invasion, David Tennant as the 10th Doctor fighting Sigurd Sleater with swords. They took some inspiration. Of course Sir Giles blurs and changes his hair and beard and revealed to be the Master, carrying his tissue compressor eliminator. I really love the music, it's so 80s. They really do have awesome musics.
You escaped from Zarephath.
Oh, my dear Doctor, you have been naive.
I really like Peter Davison as the 5th Doctor. It's a shame that he doesn't get enough credit. He really does a great job bringing the playfulness, innocence to the character and caring to his companions. Janet Fielding is great as Tegan Jovanka. The fact she's like, no, it's too dangerous, we better get back to the TARDIS, is so appropriate because, well, let's face it, if we're in that situation, I think we would have reacted the same way. Mark Strickson is also great as Tolo. I love how he stands up to people, he's pretty badass. I really like Anthony Ainley as the Master, who last appeared in Time Flight. He's so evil, he gives off great performance. Apparently the Master disguised himself as Sir Giles Estram. The surname is an anagram of Master. In order to avoid spoilers, the character was credited in Radio Times as James Stoker, which is an anagram of Master's joke. Gerald Flood played King John, who was the King of England from 1199 to 1216, as he passed away that year. Although technically it's actually Chameleon in disguise as King John. Awesome job playing the bad King John. Chameleon, who's also voiced by Gerald Flood. He's a shape-shifting android operated by the Master before he became the Doctor's companion. I really like Chameleon. He's really cool, a nice addition to the TARDIS team. It's a shame he only appeared in 2 stories. What happened is, Richard Gregory, the freelance effects designer, and Mike Power, the software designer, gave a demonstration of the robot prototype for John Nathan Turner and Eric Sayward. Nathan Turner was so impressed. So he commissioned scriptwriter Terence Dudley to develop a storyline to introduce Chameleon into the series. Shortly after filming, Mike Powers sadly died in a boat accident, and no one was able to continue his work. Chameleon made only 2 appearances before being written out of the series, who later returned to be killed off in Planet of Fire. Frank Windsor plays Sir Ranulph Fitzwilliam. A knight giving his entire fortune to King John to aid the Crusades. He gives off great performance. Joss Ackland, George Baker, John Bannon, Brian Blessed, James Ellis, Julian Glover, Michael Jaston, Peter Jeffrey, Dinsdale Landon, Alfred Lynch, T.P. McKenna, Clifford Rose, Peter Vaughan and Edward Woodward were considered for the role. Isla Blair plays Isabella Fitzwilliam, the wife of Sir Ranulph, who was locked up in the dungeon by the Master in disguise as Giles Estram. She's great as well. According to a documentary from Archive in the collection of season 20, Eleanor Bron was offered for the role, she would have been pretty exquisite. Plus, I do think Isla is great as Isabella. Christopher Villas plays Hugh, the son of Sir Ranulph and Isabella Fitzwilliam. He's great too. Michael J. Jackson plays Sir Geoffrey D. Lacey, a knight and Ranulph's cousin who discovered the king, who is in London and confused on how he's in both places at the same time. I like him, he's canny. It's really sad that he's killed off. Peter Burrows plays a jester who performs juggling. During the bouquet, he really pulls off a great stunt. The casts are brilliant. Tony Virgo does a great job with his direction. I really like the soundtrack by Jonathan Gibbs, especially the cliffhanger, as I've already mentioned. So the Doctor managed to take the tissue compression off the Master, and now the Doctor is knighted as the new champion. The Master runs back to his TARDIS. After Geoffrey was killed by the Master, the Doctor confronts the Master and so-called King John, who turns out to be Chameleon in disguise, which is pretty cool.
We'll put the known world to the sword.
The fact that he's disguised as King John, the Master plans that he will behave so appallingly as to provoke a rebellion and topple the real king from his throne, thus robbing the world of Magna Carta, the foundation of parliamentary democracy.
Your Majesty seems in need of a doctor.
Allow me to introduce Chameleon. Alas, modesty forbids such a claim. Chameleon is the tool of an earlier invader of Zerifas.
Everyone burst into the room and discovered the truth. The Doctor battles the Master's will, control over the Chameleon, so he takes Chameleon with him in the TARDIS, and of course Tegan was inside setting coordinates. As Chameleon turns back into Silver Robot, he thanks the Doctor and accepts the offer to be his companion. Tegan wasn't keen on that idea though. The Doctor and his companions plan to go to the Eye of Iron, which will lead to the 20th anniversary special, The Five Doctors. Great stuff in there. I wish Chameleon was in more serials. That would have been amazing. The story was repeated on BBC One on consecutive Friday 6th to 13th of July 1984, archiving viewing figures of 3.3 and 5.0 million. What did you think of The King's Demons and Season 20? Feel free to write down your thoughts on the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
We sing in praise of total war.